against the Direwolves because they're so strange.
Yeah, expect maybe a Nocturne. Xerath actually comes out. They don't want Sharp to have that one. Zillion being taken off the side of Direwolves, that's just a really annoying champion to have to deal with.
Yep.
Lee Sin being taken away from Yuzora. And wow, Perfection has drawn a target ban first up, taking Cassidy away.
Yeah.
They do not want to go near that.
And I love the fact that this is a Cassidy ban. You expect that to be against Sharp in the mid lane. No, guys. This is against Perfections in the top lane. This is the guy that you do not ever want to get Cassidy.
And they have banned out Rise, which will give Maokai across if they want it. No, they actually go with a Lucian first pick.
Yep.
So just trying to get Veritas onto something he's extremely comfortable with. More of an aggressive early game jungle. We were seeing him playing a lot of scaling late game AD carries.
Yeah, and I find it quite interesting because Chuffer has such a deep champion pool in that bottom lane. One of the players that's more than happy to pick up this Caitlyn. Of course, Janna left open as well.
Tristana.
You can imagine that Maokai could be there, and his Tristana was so impressive.
Yeah, his Tristana is brutal. Of course, we are paying on the Worlds patch, I believe.
Here we are.
So Tristana going to be locked in. That is a very, very important pickup on the side of Direwolves.
It really, really is, and they are already starting this raise the Tristana comp with the extra shield added from Janna. So much peeling potential as well. That being said, Yuzora on his famous Kha'Zix. This guy is so comfortable on this one. It was almost permanently banned against him in the autumn and winter regionals. So we'll see whether he can get the work done. Of course, so good on these sort of high-tier junglers.
And that's why I don't necessarily like the Lee Sin ban, because he just plays Lee Sin and Kha'Zix to equal brilliance.
Yeah.
They're kind of his two top tier, as we see an actual Alistair locked in out of Kensti.
Oh my goodness.
Alistair Lucian bottom lane, that's going to be intense.
Nada and Veritas have some aggression planned, I could imagine, and I love watching Alistair be played, and we'll see how it's going to work out in the hands of Nada, who is so mechanically proficient.
Yeah, so we haven't actually seen Perfection in a lane swap, and Tristana and Janna would typically like to lane swap away from an aggressive lane like that.
Yep.
However, what that opens the map to is a roaming Alistair. And at level 2 has everything in his kit that he needs to really be able to impact that mid lane, be able to team up with Yuzora and be able to go into the enemy jungle and take whatever they want at will.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he can roam towards that mid lane, come in from behind the turret. Of course, we've seen Ejim doing this quite a lot, making sure you get early pressure down so you can snowball that lane. Even if you don't manage to get a kill, you can get pressure there and make sure that you have a bit... Oh my gosh! I don't care what I was just saying. The Rippy Udyr has been locked in. We are in for such a game today.
Yeah, and he's just gone straight back to what he's comfortable in, and why not? This is the big stage.
Oh, yeah.
Got to get on something that he likes. And with the Aurelia in the top lane, means that she's going to be able to dive on the back lane with him. They're going to have to expend so much CC trying to lock down this Aurelia that Rippy will just be able to run through in his bear stance and get as much work done as possible.
Yeah, and expending CC on Aurelia means almost nothing. In these team fights, of course, your Ionian Fervor passive giving you so much tenacity, on top of the fact that it can scale multiplicatively with the tenacity from your Mercury Shreds is just so important. Perfection's just going to be running around. If he manages to get ahead, of course, he's just going to be going nuts. But we can see over on the other side, there is a potential Yasuo-Maokai combination coming through from these guys. Has been locked in, and we'll see what Sharp's going to be able to do in response to this.
And now if Sharp can play Fizz, Kensti might be having flashbacks to a certain tournament that happened not too long ago where he went 1 and 12 on that Yasuo.
I thought we weren't going to mention that.
Is a terrific Yasuo player, however, just does not so great in a blind pick matchup because you can take things like this Fizz into it.
That being said, he's got so much setup. The headbutt pulverize combo from Alistair, we've been seeing that do so much work recently, getting the last breath off. And of course, Maokai can just use that Twisted Advance, immediately Arcane Smash, and you can get your last breath that way. Sharp's looking at his Orianna, such a comfort pick for this guy, and works out really well in his team comp. But I don't know whether it's something that you can really punish Yasuo with as well.
Yeah, definitely not early game because of Yasuo's mobility.
Yeah.
You can get some nice auto attacks on, but trades fairly well. So not as an aggressive matchup in the mid lane as I would like to see. But we spoke about Sharp's champion pool and the fact that he just likes to be able to farm, get through the laning phase unharassed, and then try and impact team fights. And locking in that Orianna, especially taking the exhaust, will do exactly that for him.
Not to mention the fact that the late game scaling potential from the Direwolves is completely out of control. If this game goes to 50 minutes, it's almost like they win by default unless Avant Garde get this gigantically perfect wombo combo situation and rip them apart.
And they just have threats across the board. with a disengaged support like Janna, meaning that it's going to be so hard for Avant to actually pick the fights they want. They, of course, have the headbutt pulve. We've talked about that. And Flash W, Twisted Advance from Maokai, is a way to get into a fight, but it kind of leaves you that far in that the rest of your team has to follow up.
Yeah.
So look for some maybe captain boots to come out. Look for a coin to be picked up early on this Alistair so they can get in, because if they can't get in and really dive in this mid game, as you said, if it gets to late game, Tristana is going to start ripping people apart.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Taking a lot of knockups into Aurelia is also fantastic. Of course, knockups aren't going to be mitigated by that tenacity, so taking those abilities is really, really good. I just want to touch on the Orianna pickup again, just because it seems a little bit strange, the fact that Orianna doesn't necessarily do fantastically well as a counterpick to Yasuo. I mean, you don't necessarily pick it in there, but having double shields for Chuffa on this Tristana, Chuffa known to be the carry here for the Direwolves, is really, really important.
And not to mention the dissonance speed up that's going to give Rippy and Perfection on Aurelia and Udyr, being able to get even quicker into the backline, just gives them another tool to be able to get on top of the Avant lineup. So it's definitely a good pickup. It's just not a pickup that is for the lane matchup. It's definitely for the team fighting ability. Yeah,
it really, really is. I haven't actually seen an Aurelia versus Maokai matchup that often. Do you think they're going to go for a lane swap and we're not going to see it, or do you think that that might be a 1v1 that we're going to see?
I think both teams will be comfortable running the 1v1. On the side of Avant, it will be because they feel they have a better bottom lane. With the Lucian being able to bully throughout the mid game, if they can get Alistair to level 2, really get in there and mix it up. And I think that they, on the side of Direwolves, would be hesitant to throw Perfection into a lane swap on his first major LAN event for this season.
Yeah, that being said, we are on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, with Avant Garde taking on the Direwolves. Of course, Avant Garde on our blue side, Direwolves on the red. And it looks like we do have pings across the board. Not going to be too much of an aggressive start this game.
Yeah, and it looks like they are moving out to just try and get a 4-man push into the red side of the jungle. They have been spotted out. There's pings going down like crazy all over the Avant lineup.
Yeah, Perfection's up in this top lane.
Good ward.
Oh, brilliant ward. That's how you know that he's made the transition into top lane playing perfectly, because he can nail that ward. That one's difficult.
So the ward in between the turrets is actually looking for a lane swap, so maybe AV are thinking Direwolves will be looking for that one and they want to keep them there. Veritas in this mid lane, just making sure
showing some respect
that he can spot out if anything funny happens. Sharp having a dance-off with him there.
Yep. And I love the fact that no one's going for any auto attacks. You know, it's a gentleman's agreement. It's facing off. Sort of like the bow before you beat each other to death.
And we do see that Rippy will be starting on the bottom. Careful that he doesn't get 3-buffed here, because it looks like Yuzora is wanting to go back into that side of the jungle, is pinging it out. And of course, Rippy is the one that wants to be doing the counter jungling in this matchup. Udyr just clears jungle so quickly.
Yeah, he certainly does. Nothing wrong with that one. We do have the bottom lane of Avant Garde going towards their red buff. They might get some vision down there just to make sure that that one isn't stolen away, with some easy vertical jungling coming
and
through.
And it looks like Direwolves have just given up top side of the map control, and that's not necessarily the smartest move, because it's just so dangerous to invade A onto an Alistair and B onto the side of the map where it's a 2v2 matchup. Generally, if it's a lane swap, you feel comfortable running across. However, Rippy might only end up with his blue buff in this rotation, and that will make his ganks early game not effective whatsoever.
Yeah, they didn't see the fact that Yuzora did go over there, is heading up to his wolves now, so it is going to be a successful invade coming through from Chelby.
They know now, so Rippy can motor on and try and get down to the red buff. However, oh wow, so much aggression already.
Yeah, nice pulverize coming through from Nada. Some follow-up damage coming from Chopper, but all of our bot lane members at about half health. Potions being popped across the board. Apart from Veritas, he's going to keep his. Triumphant Roar is actually going to be really, really helpful in this matchup, as level 2 is hit by Avant Garde. Relentless Pursuit almost going to take a turret hit for it. Very aggressive coming out from Veritas.
Yeah, and Porky, wow, getting bullied by Perfection early. Did have to help Chelby out, Yuzora out on the first buff, so did get to lane a little bit late. Now is healing himself up, able to trade back a little bit more successfully, but with this Flask being picked up on Aurelia, she's going to be able to sustain through a lot of Maokai's early game damage, because realistically it's not that significant.
Yeah, that's true. Although, level up that Arcane Smash, you can get that on a pretty low cooldown. Yuzora gonna come through here. Did he just...
Yeah, so they actually traded 2 buffs for 2 buffs, but Yuzora got the red and Rippy got the blue. As we see Chuffa actually taking a lot of damage in this bottom lane. Of course, not having that sustained support will mean that if he doesn't trade well with a shield, he will be in a little bit of trouble. As we see more trading back and forward, I think that the action early will be in this bottom lane just because of how aggressive Nada and Veritas are playing it.
Yeah, we'll see whether that does come through. Of course, Perfection now hitting that level 3 mark, getting all of your abilities on Aurelia is so important just because they synergize so well with one another when you go into your combo. So we'll see whether Perfections can get aggressive on this one. Of course, the wave is pushing up. Rippy is just going to go back to base. So as Choffa goes down incredibly low in this bottom lane, he's going to be forced to back early.
He's already down 10 CS, and when you only have 10 CS, that's pretty bad news. Veritas just absolutely bullying this lane, and then just impossible to engage on top of because there is the Alistair there. As Porky getting a nice favorable trade in this top lane. He's just so solid.
He certainly is, Porky, and very, very comfortable on these massively tanky champions as well. Of course, Perfection's not spending too much time playing in the top lane. Was originally a mid lane player, although he has played every role forever.
And wow, Veritas and Nada pushing this lane up nice and far. Tristana has gone back, only able to pick up another Duran's Blade. That's not what you want whatsoever. You need to get into that static shift or Infinity Edge to get rid of the mid-game power dip that Tristana goes through, and having another Duran's is just going to mean so much bad news for the early game.
Yeah, that's really, really true. Of course, Tristana wanting to scale up, though, so more than happy just to sort of sit back. As long as she doesn't die, I mean, it might be okay. But if we have a look in the middle lane here, Kensti up 4 CS, which is nothing to write home about. But as far as melee into range and a range champion that can harass so effectively like Orianna, you have to say that this is going really well for Avant Garde.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Kensti will be stronger if he is able to get into a really split push mode, because Perfection is going to have to answer that. And I think that Avant will be much happier having Porky in the actual team fights as opposed to Kensti. Nice win wall there, blocking out some of that harass you were speaking about. And Sharp looks fine in this lane, has missed a couple of CS, but he's going to get himself through. He'll have a nice, smooth power curve on Orianna, one of the great transitional, and wow, so much action.
Yeah, a lot of aggression here in this bottom lane. Jesh getting completely zoned out. He's going towards the wrong tower. Nice juke, but it's not going to be enough as Choffa tries to get a little bit of follow-up damage. Does have that rocket jump to get into safety, but first blood going to Veritas, and that is not good news for the Direwolves as Choffa's now getting aggressed on. Look at the double taps coming through from Veritas.
But wow, that was actually a great trade back from Choffa there. Able to go toe-to-toe and actually get some damage down, meaning he probably won't be able to be dived now as we have some more action in the top lane. They're not going to be able to kill each other, although Perfection trades nicely back.
Yeah, that hidden style doing a lot of work, but he has so many creeps. Rippy now finds his way to the mid lane. Are they going to be able to dive? No, teleport coming through from Porky. He's down very low on health, though. I don't think they're going to be able to really turn this one around. Sharp still hanging out in this mid lane, but...
And looks like they want to rotate into a dragon right now, but that is a dangerous move. Still very early in the game. Only level 4. Porky and Nada will take a lot of damage from this. Completely unspotted.
Everyone very low.
Oh, that is a very, very brave call that's paid off this early in the game, being able to pick up a 7-minute dragon.
That was very decisive. It went down so quickly as well, of course. 5 members there. I have a feeling if Direwolves had that warded, they would have loved to have actually come and fought that, but unable to. And just because Avant Garde know exactly what to do around this map, they make the call immediately. That means that they can't contest. If there was any indecisiveness, I have a feeling Direwolves might have been able to find their way in.
Yeah, just a little bit of lack of ward vision down there. Jish had, of course, died, had to walk back. So in the end, not a wasted teleport. They're able to pick up an objective for it. Does lose out on some CS in the top lane, but overall, as a team, 1,500 gold already for Avant. So they're looking very, very good in this early game.
That being said, we were talking about how good the Direwolves looked as far as a late game team comp is concerned. So 1.5 thousand gold, nothing to really write home about. And you think that Avant Garde really want to create a gigantic lead by about the mid-game.
Yeah, they definitely do need to get going in this mid-game, because if it remains relatively even, this Tristana is just going to get so much stronger than Veritas' Lucian. And being able to catch up to within 12 CS, although behind the kill, just means that Choffa will be feeling much more comfortable at this point in the game. Sharp able to pick up his blue buff from Rippy. Rippy, 41 to 25 CS. This is what we were speaking of. So good at just putting the jungle on farm.
He certainly is. And this is going to be the Ancient Golem Rippy Udyr as well. So going for full tank Udyr. And we saw this work out really, really well for him. knows that champion in and out. I was actually talking to him about it yesterday. This guy does not need to even know where his keyboard is. He just automatically does it on muscle memory playing that champion. As there is some aggression here in the bottom lane. The culling coming through. Jish takes so much damage from that one. Nada just sort of wandering around for a bit while his cooldowns are down. And Porky now getting aggressive in this top lane. There is so much action across the map. Nice arcane smash to slow Perfections down just a little bit. You can see Chopper very far forward here. Veritas very low on mana as well, so Nada also low on the old mana. Avant Garde not able to really assert full dominance.
As we have a gank coming into the top lane, Shelby has picked up his blue buff as well, so...
Oh, nice blade surge to get him out of that one, and Rippy's here as well for the support. I thought that Perfections could have easily gone down there, but not going to happen. Really, really nice Q to get him out of trouble.
And Rippy, even though Yuzori's picked up an extra buff over him, is still higher level. Able to run back in there, has picked up his Ninja Tabi, so he's going to be very tanky with that turtle stance as well. Perfections, just for a little bit of something different, is still maxing that W, that Heat-End style.
Yep.
Not opting to go for the Equilibrium Strike that we have seen come through so popular. Of course, when you pick up a Sheen with the Equilibrium Strike, just such good burst damage coming out of Orianna. As we do have a little bit of a pause coming through.
Yep, slight pause. We'll see what they're trying to sort out here. But so far, the early game going fantastically well for Avant Garde, but you have to say that you were expecting that sort of situation. Of course, their bottom lane being very aggressive, picking up that first blood, but Rippy does seem to be finding himself in the positions he needs to be around the top and the mid lane, and Perfections, his performance so far in the top lane has been solid.
Yeah, and Perfections look great, but Rippy really needs to get some eyes on Yuzora. I feel if he can successfully counter gank, very, very hard to gank as an Udyr into some of these lanes, but if he can counter gank, get to the lanes maybe half a second after Yuzora has gone in and committed on this Kha'Zix, might be able to pick up some nice cleanup kills and turn it around. So look for them to start getting deep wards, get eyes on Yuzora, and really try and track him around the map.
Yeah, and do you think that because of the wind wall being such a problem here for Orianna as well in the team fights in the late game, do you think putting that ball on top of Aurelia or Udyr is going to be really, really important?
Yeah, it certainly will be, or even keeping it just on top of Chuffa on Tristana, because they're going to be looking to dive him. So being able to keep it there just means that you can set up a nice shockwave without really having to think too much about it. As we see Sharp just going back to farming, he has fallen 20 CS behind. So Kensti really rolling now on this Yasuo.
Yeah, he really is. That being said, I mean, look at the Direwolves' vision right now. They've got 3 pink wards on the map, making sure they can see the entire river. That jungle not going to be getting invaded as Nada does discover that there is a pink here. Sharp's just going to discover him.
Yeah, able to deter Nada there.
And protecting your pink wards is so important as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. However, now that they know it's there, they will be able to play around that. Rippy is sticking around this mid lane a little bit. Now going back into his jungle to farm. Still has a CS advantage. And of course, those boots too just means that Udyr can get around the map as fast as he wants.
And I really, really love the early Ninja Tabi as well. It's so effective and gold efficient against so many auto-attacking champions in Kha'Zix, Yasuo, and of course, Veritas on this Lucian. So I think it's a really, really important pickup. And it's going to be fantastic as the game progresses because Maokai, he does have AP damage, but not too much of it.
Yeah, certainly right. Might need a little bit of tenacity, however, you don't want to get locked up as this Udyr. As we see Porky once again going in, he started to farm nicely in the top lane. Of course, he used his teleport to assist the rest of the map. So a 12 CS advantage to Perfection really isn't much of a difference at this point of the game. And once again, the aggression coming out of Veritas and Nada, just zoning Chuffa away from his cannon creep now.
Oh, nice combo. And there's the culling coming through as well. We know Veritas just more than happy to throw out that ultimate when he knows that he can pressure someone out of a lane. Always fighting over that farm. Twisted Advance is going to go down here in the top lane. Porky does get a nice combo trade off here as Yuzora's coming in as well. Transcendent Blades has been popped. Yuzora actually going for the dive here, forcing the flash. I think that might have been a little bit overexcited as in the bottom lane. We do have Chuffa falling down. I think we might be able to have a look at that one as Veritas gets the double kill. And we were harping on about this bottom lane. I don't think we were harping on about it enough.
Yeah, they are so good. Able to pick up the double kill with a dive in there. Nada popping that ultimate. Able to keep himself very, very healthy. And this is a problem now on the side of Direwolves. If they cannot influence this bottom lane, 3-0-0 and a 30 CS lead, being able to take that turret, Veritas is so strong at this point in the game. He's going to go back, finish up his Infinity Edge most likely, and he's going to be a mid-game monster.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about. This is where they need to start that snowball rolling, managing to pick up the turret as well, getting that map pressure going, and you saw that they were happy to push this one out. As we do see the fight, the flash into the... That's incredible.
Yeah, so able to really pick up the dive here. Nada, look at him. He's just taking the turret while his ultimate's rolling, letting Veritas do as much work as he can. That's just great support there coming through. And as we said, they just play so well together. Now coming into the mid lane, he has those Moby boots, looking to get some work done now around the map. Only 15 seconds until this dragon is respawning.
Veritas again showing their respect here in the mid lane. Of course, a little bit different now that the game has gone on. 3-0-0 now for this Lucian, picking up 100% of the kills for his team so far. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, and they are looking for a dive once again. Rippy now caught under the turret. They're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Jish actually getting immediately locked up. Oh my goodness, the hula hoop in the middle of the map as well. That is not what you want. Yuzora forced to flash out. Underneath this turret is definitely where the Direwolves want to fight, and you can see Avant Garde falling down very low. Veritas cops a last turret shot as well. Only losing one. It's going to be Jish falling over, but my gosh, this is very, very dangerous. Rippy getting caught out once again. And Avant Garde, they just own this map.
Yeah, this will mean a free dragon, and that will be a 5,000 gold lead nearly at this point in the game. That is so huge. And a little bit of miscommunication on the shockwave there. It didn't look like Sharp wanted to throw it out and then did maybe a fraction of a second too late. Only caught Nada in that one. And that just means that more of this map being surrendered over. Now getting control over the blue buff as well. Denying that from Sharp. All that cooldown reduction and mana regen is now off the map. Porky will pick that one up.
Yeah, 14 minutes into this game. Now 5,000 gold ahead. This one is looking definitely exactly where Avant Garde want it to be, and I think the Direwolves really going to have to put their turtle hats on. And Rippy can probably teach them how to do that, of course, playing Udyr. That's going to be helpful. But this mid lane turret is getting pressured as well. Second turret of the game is going to be going down for Avant Garde. Oh, unless Creep Wave does die. No, he's going to be able to finish that one off. Nice dissonance for a little bit of follow-up damage.
Yeah, and they have thrown Kensley into that bottom lane now to split push against Shuffer, just rotating Veritas around the map to get control of these objectives and catapult his team into this gold lead. Shuffer having a little bit of trouble CSing under turret as Tristana. Of course, that's not very fun.
No, it's not, but he does manage to get those last 4, so kudos to him. Always a little bit tough making up for that explosive shot. Rippy continuing to farm out his jungle. Has decided not to finish off his Ancient Golem, just going to get that Giant's Belt for some stats now. Of course, you really want to get that health. Hit the Style going to come through again. Does get the reset on the Blade Surge and comes back onto Porky. Some cute little plays here from Perfection.
Yeah, he looks super comfortable on this Aurelia, so he's played the map out well so far. Maybe not having the influence around the map that Porky has had. Of course, joining some of these team fights, as there is again coming through.
Yeah, Rippy actually coming through. There's the Bear Stance coming off. Does use that Twisted Advance, and Maelstrom doing so much work, keeping him alive. Transcendent Blades coming through as well, forcing the flash. Shelby's here, but they are going to be able to pick up the kill. Multiple members from AV. Nice headbutt under the turret as well. And there's the Pulverize onto 2 members. Yuzora's pretty weak, but not weak enough. Look at that. Managing to finish off that kill as well.
And meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sharp has fallen as well. Veritas pushing through onto a tier 2 turret. So he's getting work done. Also forced Chopper back. This Lucian.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty strong at the moment. Doesn't have any mana. We might need to go back and maybe buy a full Trinity Force from that Zeal. Not entirely sure. He's probably got a lot of money under his belt right now.
Yeah, probably will be going towards that static shift just for even more mid-game power. As another 2 turrets, 3 turrets falling across the map. All of a sudden, this is out to a 9,000 gold advantage. And AV, we said they needed to get work done in the mid-game. They certainly have done that.
Yeah, they were definitely listening to what we were saying. And we know by 16.5 minutes, a gold lead like this is so difficult to make up for. The Direwolves really going to have to, I don't even know. Consolidate vision is definitely a good idea, so I like what they're doing. They do have a full lineup of sweepers with just that one Scrying Orb, and I think having that Scrying Orb is going to be very important at the same time, making sure that they don't have to face check too much.
Okay, so AV from here are looking to dive and pressure other parts on the map. However, Direwolves do have a reasonably good anti-dive comp. Janna as well as Orianna, always nice to have. Udyr also very underrated in an anti-dive composition just because you can stun people up under the turret at will with that bear stance. And of course, Chuffle with all that long range will be able to help. However, just because of how far Nada is on this Alistair, he's going to be able to dive with that ultimate on and really get things going. So look for the next couple of minutes around that top turret area for a nice dive to come through and try and clean up and get inside the base of Direwolves.
See whether they do manage to break the fortifications. We can see Transcendent Blaze just going to be used to clear out this wave. Perfections is going to successfully do that. Save a lot of damage on this turret. That being said, the 3-1-1 split push seems to be working out relatively well here for AV as every turret is getting pressured through.
Yeah, but what it means is they are forcing a lot of farm into the base that could have been otherwise denied. So this will allow Direwolves to at least CS.
Yep.
Definitely in favor of Avant, but just able to get any resources at the point of the game when you're that far behind is a good thing. As we see, Perfection still willing to go aggressive onto Porky.
He is. Only needs a little bit more gold before that Trinity Force is going to be completed. You can imagine probably going to be going full tank after that if he does manage to get any more items. Veritas successfully stealing away this red buff as well. That was easily going to be his as Kensti still farming in this bottom lane. Haven't been seeing too much from Kensti so far. Just more than happy to farm himself up so that last breath can be doing as much damage as possible in these potential team fights and dives that are going to be going on, I could imagine, very soon.
Yeah, and you can see exactly why they forced Rippy onto this Udyr, because great champion when ahead can really get going and get very, very beefy, but when behind doesn't really do that much. As Chuffer, cheating towards the side of the map that does have his jungler on, so smart play there, not wanting to expend any abilities to get out, but Nada, such an intimidating force.
He certainly is, and that skin actually looking really intimidating at the same time, and he's just going to be sauntering around this map, pressuring through with his headbutt pulverize combo. You could imagine that anyone caught up in that, it'd just be so difficult to deal with. And Jish, if he's not there with a monsoon that's perfectly timed, I think that Nada can almost dictate exactly when these fights are going to be going on.
Yeah, he certainly can, especially with the way he's built, with the distortion enchantments on his boot. Just means that his flash is going to be up for a flash pulverize even more regularly, as we see them trying to now farm, get as much farm onto this Tristana as possible.
Yep.
That's kind of the last wild card left. Can they extend the game for another 15, 20 minutes, get Tristana to the point where she has 3-4 items, and just try and win on the back of Chuffer? Something that we've seen them do before, but it's true. Very, very difficult at this point in the game.
I mean, that being said, the game has gone on for another 4 minutes. That gold lead has not been extended by Avant Garde. So that, I mean, that is definitely in the favor of the Direwolves, but you could imagine that they're just biding their time, and they've got so much control over this map, they could just do Baron, as Veritas is going to start up right now. Yuzora just going to jump through, everyone leaping onto this Baron, and I mean everyone. I'm going to need an E.
And this is the time they need to fight. If Direwolves know this is going on whatsoever, they need to get in there right now, because if this falls, it could actually mean game. And that was probably the perfect area, and
just gets
being
caught out as well. Oh, nice flash, going to be over into that golem pit. I'm going to save his life instantly. Quick reaction times on that flash, that could have definitely spelled the end.
Yeah, that would have been very, very bad. Getting rid of the Janna would have just meant that the dives coming through now would be so much easier. And wow, Avant just with so much control, making sure they had all the entrances where they would advance from, completely warded out and able to pick up an uncontested Baron. And now, wow, there's just no one responding in this mid lane.
Yeah, they are able to get a lot of extra damage. And I really like the use of Wind Wall there by Kensti just to make sure that a lot of that harass was blocked out. Ardent Blaze just going to make sure that passive is being procced. That Light Slinger from Veritas, he's going to be able to get this free inner turret. The last inner turret of the game, 6 now to 0 in favor of Avant Garde. They have so much map pressure, and you can see 5 pink wards on the map around these neutral objectives. And this has just been a masterclass by Avant Garde.
Yeah, definitely showing that they're much more on the same page. They look very coordinated moving around the map, and it just all started in that bottom lane. When you have an AD carry like Veritas that can go 4-0-0 and just exert so much pressure as he has, he's rotated around the map and cleaned up, I think, 4 or 5 turrets for himself.
That is exactly what Veritas is fantastic at, translating the leads that he manages to get to himself into objectives. This inhibitor turret is going to go very, very low. Nice 2-man shockwave, but is it going to be enough? Oh my gosh, that last breath was gigantic. Immediately taking out Jish, and now the Direwolves are on the run, instantly getting removed. There's Chopper forced to use that jump and the flash and the heal. Does get slowed down, but Avant Garde just showing so much strength and prowess. Veritas almost getting taken down by that turret. Is going to be the inhibitor turret falling down, and that inhibitor is soon to follow. 9-1 in Avant Garde's favor. 41.6 thousand gold to 27.
Yeah, and that was just a brute force. Absolutely just going ham underneath the turret, to be honest. Getting a really nice last press through. All the ingredients are there for Direwolves to have a slightly favorable fight, but they're just that far behind that the shockwave didn't do enough damage. Couldn't keep people alive long enough for Janna to successfully disengage after the initial dive came through. And wow, now 2 inhibitor turrets down, 2 inhibitors fallen, 22 minutes into a game, 15,000 gold the lead.
This is so bad for the Direwolves. It's going to be a massive struggle for them to stay in this game. It might be a time for them just to consolidate, make sure that they're not feeling too bad about how this game's gone, and think about potentially the next one. This is, of course, a best-of-3 series, and Direwolves have the opportunity to change up their strategy, maybe go for something that doesn't peak so late, so they can't get snowballed on as easily. Of course, they do have a lot more tools under their belt, and having Perfections is really, really helpful because his champion pool is almost unknown.
Yeah, and he has been able to finish up that Trinity Force now, but Porky has just 2.5 items in front of him, unfortunately. On this Maokai, he's just becoming a tanky beast, and Kensti, 250 CS, definitely showing that he's happy to pick up the Yasuo and play it to pretty good effect.
He certainly is. Of course, Kensti been playing Yasuo since his release almost. Very, very strong, very, very comfortable on that champion. That's why they managed to pick it up into anything, basically. Kensti just more than happy.
But it looks like they are just playing this one out. Very, very standard. Rippy does go in for a little bit of a stun, but not followed up by his team. Do not want to fight at this point. And wow, Nada's going in.
Yeah, more than happy just to wander under that turret, take a few turret shots. Does have that Triumphant Roar for heals, and of course a lot of regen as well. This cow is very, very strong. A lot of health on this guy, almost 3,000.
Yeah, so just forcing the minion waves into the base means that they will be able to take this last turret uncontested, and there really isn't anything Direwolves can do about it. Can't fight at this point. Veritas just happy to kite with that red buff, and Rippy, oh wow, he's gone.
Yeah, Veritas is so deep in the base, and look at that. Rippy just a little bit too far ahead. The flash into the double tap as well, just sidestepping out of that shockwave. This is Avant Garde. They're going to be taking this one to a game 2 in such commanding fashion. Look at them just hanging outside this fountain. The Nexus turrets are going to fall down, and Avant Garde smash their way through to the second game here for our semi-final series. And wow, what a way to start off our esports experience here at PAX Australia.
Yeah, very decisive win coming through from the Avant Gaming lineup, and across the board, everyone played well. Yuzora had a great start, able to take away the red buff, did get 2 buffs in return. However, influenced lanes a little bit more than what Rippy did on the Udyr. Porky, very, very solid. Nice teleport down to secure the first dragon. And then that bottom lane, wow, they are just so good 2v2. I don't know how teams are going to match up against them.
Yeah, I know, it's looking very, very scary. Of course, we've harped on about a lot of the bottom lanes that are in this tournament, but so far, Avant Garde definitely looking the scariest. And as we go into game 2, we'll see whether the Direwolves can answer to that one. And I think it was just knowing the fact that they could dive exactly when they did was just really, really important for these guys.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Alistair gives you as a team comp. With that ultimate, being able to go in there and just tank and absorb so much damage, especially under turrets, just means that you can get action going whenever you want. They didn't have to wait for item thresholds just because of the champions they picked. Really made up for that weakness. So fantastically played. I think they got a composition that were extremely comfortable playing. They didn't really show anything that they hadn't before as well, which is very important. But look for Direwolves to have some surprise pocket picks for this second game. We have heard that they've got a couple of niche picks prepared in case this did eventuate. So they do have some surprises coming up.
Yeah, they certainly have mentioned the fact that they do have some surprises. That game, we did not really see many. So this is the one where you've got to pull them out. This is when you've got to put AV on the back foot. We do have a replay of the final fight coming through, and this is just Avant Garde asserting their dominance.
Yeah, so this starts off with Veritas staying inside the base, if we can grab the replay up.
It was pretty good.
All right, so Veritas is in the base and he's just kiting around. Rippy can't get on top of him, so decides to go into the team and just gets blown up. From here, Veritas just goes super aggressive, flashing in. And even though the shockwave hits Yuzora, no one else is affected by it and just able to exert so much pressure over the map. They do try and pick Chuffer up, but from here, they understand exactly what they're playing for. They take out the base, and Veritas just is so influential for his team.
Yeah.
Able to get the bottom lane ahead and then exert pressure around. But even as you saw then, just confident within his playstyle, able to be extremely aggressive.
Yeah, more than happy to be put in this situation where he has to kite back, and you could see him zoning out almost 5 members. That being said, I mean, Direwolves are at a gigantic deficit at that point, and that doesn't tell you all that much just because Avant Garde had already managed to stoneball that game into an almost insurmountable lead, you have to say.
Oh, they certainly did, but that started in the bottom lane as well. So definitely
Yeah.
a lot of props to AV to play their comp out the way they did and then end in decisive fashion. No chance of a comeback there whatsoever.
Yeah, that is really true. But we are going to have Game 2 coming up very, very shortly. We'll see whether Direwolves can bounce back after arguably a very, very decisive victory by Avant Garde. But guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be back very soon.